Well, hello there and welcome to Travels with Geordie. If this is your first visit, my name is Peter Knowles and I live on this classic Ed Monk designed motor cruiser here in Victoria, British Columbia, along with the loving memory of my pup Geordie, whom the boat is now named after. Anyway, doing some pretty major work to it, especially these last few weeks, in anticipation of some ambitious cruising soon, I hope. Anyway, if that's the sort of thing you might find interesting, please consider sticking around and subscribing. I'd love to have you. Well then, this episode is 3 days in one, partly because it was fairly mundane work and I don't want to show you too much of it, and two, it was incredibly hot and I didn't get all that much done, and three, it's time to catch up. So we're back to real time. What is it? It's all kinds of stuff. A ton of it is keeping the boat wet. I've been working on a fair amount of time it takes to do that for various reasons. Butt blocks continuing, new floors continuing, all this bung work. Is that a thing? Anyway, and preparing the top sides for paint, which I really want to get going on, just because there's a few steps to that. Anyway, let's jump back in time a couple of days and catch up to where we are basically right now. Well, good morning. I hope you can hear me. Got a friend helping sand the outside of the boat, which is great. So my latest attempt to keep the boat damp is a soaker hose, which I've run the full length of the boat on that stringer, which is the stringer just above the waterline, or well above the waterline. But anyway, I think it's going to work really, really well in that it will eventually soak the whole inside of the planking here from this point down, and I think that is going to be a big improvement over this. Well, I have to get the boat damp. We're coming on 34 degrees this weekend, and it is my biggest concern actually now, trying to keep the boat damp. The big gaps in the bottom, I've gone back to sawdust, and they're pretty much under control, but these seams along the side of the hull need to be taken up a bit. Okay, time to fix up the engine beds. For those who've been following along, these are brand new engine beds for the new Beta Marine, and aside from me having sort of abused them, I had to cut down notches for them because of some confusion with the new custom mounts from Beta Marine, but that's fine. So all I'm going to do is strip off these high sections here and clean them up, and they're ready to reinstall. So now I have a couple of options. There's a strong inch that I wasn't able to cut through, so I could snap these both off and power plane out that material, or I could hand cut it, and we'll see how this goes. Maybe this is not so bad. I think I'm going to power plane it. Okay, I want to introduce you to my very good friend Matt Mepham, who I actually know through the Land Rover community. We're going to show you a nice truck in a few seconds, and he came to my rescue with a couple of days out here helping me out here because he could see that I was running into trouble, eh? A little bit. Exactly. So he has sanded the entire top sides for me in prep for painting, and he's also done all the refastening of these two planks, which were relatively crucial, the full length of the boat. Got yourself a neutral light for that, did you?
Yes, I did. Yeah, yeah, I had to.
Yeah, exactly. I pushed him right into it. Get yourself a drill.
Totally.
So, but you see, he's a yellow drill user, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
I am. Sorry.
Who is it that said it better?
I watched the Project Farm.
Oh, Project Farm, hey, plugging around the channel.
Said DeWalt.
Yeah. DeWalt's the way to go. Yeah. Anyway, well, Matt, really, I'm so grateful for you coming out. It was really great, and we got to get you out cruising.
Absolutely.
Yeah?
I'm in for sure.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
Let's show you a really nice truck. All this water pouring out is coming out from the soaker hoses that I put in up above the bilge, and it's really cool. Tell us about your truck, Matt.
My truck. 1966. A little newer than yours.
Plus, it's also genuine as far as I can tell.
Yeah, it's all
It's
genuine.
the real thing.
So it's got the slow motor.
What's that?
Giant oil rig winch.
Holy mackerel.
Dealer fit.
Yeah, exactly. That's a dealer option, was it?
It is a dealer option in the 60s, yeah.
Exactly. Well, this truck has sort of inspired me for what a clean truck can be. That's still a daily driver. Matt drives this every day, everywhere he goes. And that's pretty cool. In fact, Matt has, maybe we'll see him back here, you never know. with a...
In the Series 1?
In the Series
Maybe
1.
the Series 1, if it can make it out here.
Yeah,
It's not
exactly.
the most highway-friendly vehicle.
I guess so. Well, at one point or another, you'll see his collection of trucks. If I'm a Land Rover buff, he's a Land Rover guru.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I think I'm getting there.
Yeah, getting there. Thanks, Matt. It's been
All
great.
right. Absolutely.
Cheers.
See ya.
Oh my gosh, lots more bolts. This soaker hose is doing a great job. It's gonna save my skin. But what I found made me heart stop cold. For every seam of water I'll go to sea no more. Oh, I hope I will. That's Genie C by Stan Rogers. If you don't know him, check him out. He's awesome. Okay, so I'm going around the boat cleaning up all the holes that I can't put a bung in with this rotary burr. These are a fantastic thing. Just kind of get them cleaned up enough that I get some epoxy in. Now, of course, I can't now because it's soaking wet because I'm soaking the boat. So at a certain point, I have to let it dry out enough that I can get epoxy to stick. It's kind of a cat and mouse. Anyway, cart before the horse. How's it go? Anyway. Well, good morning. It's 5:30 in the morning and I'm up this early because we're looking at 37, 38 something degrees Celsius, and anyway, really, really hot. Yesterday was almost a washout. It was so hot. So gonna get started early and we'll see what we can do through the middle of the day. It's nice. All right, so this is pretty straightforward. Putting in bungs, make up a little thickened epoxy, put it on a card so that you can just take the bung, stick it in the epoxy, at which point you can see which way the grain is running, run it around a little bit, get it nice and coated, and shove it in the hole. 1,000 times. Well, this will certainly draw the ire of a few of you, but I actually fill these open seams above the waterline with good old 291 because I don't want to put anything hard in here because these will swell up again, and I'd really rather it didn't damage the wood, whereas this just nicely absorbs that pressure and doesn't cause any trouble. And because 291 is sandable, I'll get this on here. And when it dries tomorrow, I can just go over this quick and sand it all off the surface, just leaving it in the joint. Okay, well that's going to be it for outside work for a bit. It is seriously getting hot. So I have filled all the tiny little cracks, and they're nice and smooth. I'll have to give them a sand when that dries up. I've refastened the full stem up here, as you can see, and that was pretty tough to tell you because this is gumwood, and screwing into gumwood is, you have to have exactly the right size hole for the screw, otherwise you break the screw. Other than that, it's going pretty good. Everything is bunged. My ambition now is to get the boat fair and clean enough at the waterline so I can paint the boot stripe. And the reason for that is sequence of events stuff. If I can get the boot stripe painted and dry enough that I can put tape on it, then I'll paint the top sides and the bottom. But it's the first thing that gets painted, and it has to get good and dry. Now this weather, of course, is great for drying paint, but still running out of days. Let's get on it. Well, this is incredibly satisfying. Not only that, it's about the coolest thing I've done in days. It is so hot outside now, it's unbelievable. Anyway, I don't know if you can remember the massive gap there was down here between the garboard plank and the keel at this location, and it has swollen right back up. Sorry, I just covered it up again, but anyway, there we go. There's the keel, garboard, tight. Now, of course, I must continue to maintain it wet, but I do have to get working in here again, so I've got to get it tidy enough that I can get in here. this is a lot of sapele. I'm having to do a little bit of caulking because I have to get these seams finished that go through the water line so that I can get them caulked and paid and dried and faired, and so I can paint the boot stripe on sooner than later because of the sequence of events it takes before I can actually paint topside paint. So just got to rush this particular part of it. This is just setting the caulking in, and then I'll make it with a different iron. I don't actually know all that much about caulking, but I seem to have managed. Now, unless I've gotten this completely wrong, I've borrowed Scott's devices, and I understand the one without the groove in it is for putting the caulking in, and the one with the groove in it is for making it. In other words, bedding it harder into the groove, which is what I'll do now. Okay, and now that I'm below the water line, I just need to pay this section and we can carry on here some other time. This side can only be done in short bursts. Whew. So let me just mention quick, if you didn't catch it in yesterday's episode, going to do a live stream today at 1 o'clock. Now, this is sort of irrelevant for those of you who are watching this into the future, but I'll try to get this episode up early enough that you have a little time to watch it before the live stream. 1 o'clock Pacific time. I don't know what we'll do. We'll talk about stuff, might be able to walk around a little bit, answer some questions. You'll be there. Okay, a few of you have asked how Lloyd's boat is doing, and will you look at that? It's looking fantastic is what it's looking. Absolutely gorgeous boat. It is pretty much ready to splash aside from some systems, and I'm going to help with that a little bit tonight when it gets a little cooler. We're going to do some electrical work, which is well, it's much needed, but boat is looking fantastic. Those of you who've been following along, this is a brand new plank, and likewise on the other side, and it just came together so nicely. New top paint, new boot stripe, new bottom paint, and it's just looking great. Anyway, we'll get into some more detail in a subsequent episode, but I think this was a very successful haul out for Lloyd. And just a quick update with the all-knowing bulkhead of progress. It's becoming slightly less meaningful because, of course, I can continue to move the end date. But I'd rather not. Now, I have booked my launch for the 5th of July. I booked it because the yard is very busy, and if I don't book it with in some time in advance, I'll miss a slot. So I booked for the last launch on the 5th. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 30, 29, 28, 27. Today is the 26th. So 4 post-its have to come off the wall. Well, 2 are easy because they were spare days. 2 more are also easy, and I'll tell you why. I had 2 days in for painting the top sides and the bottom, and long ago I have decided I'm only going to put 1 coat of additional topside paint and 1 coat of bottom paint because I'm hauling again very soon, and there's no sense sanding more paint off than I need to. And the other one I can do easily is fair the top, sand the top, and rub rails and stern gear, because that is actually completely done with the exception of the stern gear, but that's a few minutes work. Well, half an hour. So I still have the everything else day, I still have the launch day, and many of these things are actually already well underway, so I'm feeling awesome. Now, if it would just cool down a bit. Cheers. Well, hello and welcome to the Travels with Geordie Beer of the Week. It is far too hot today to do it on the bridge deck or pretty much anywhere else but where I am right now, which is hiding underneath the boat in the shade. Anyway, let's get straight to the beer. This is from Hoyne, and it's Entre Nous. And actually, to tell you the truth, it's obviously a fruit cherry beer, Belgian cherry, and I couldn't resist. Actually, I really like cherries, so I thought, let's give that a go, especially on a hot day. Okay, let's go. Plus, I had the glass in the freezer in an effort to make this at least reasonably cool. Now, this is a well-deserved beer. It has been ridiculously hot. The last few days, I have not been very productive. But for a number of reasons, but I caught up today a fair amount. Anyway, I'm assuming you've already watched the bulkhead of progress, which is interesting because I haven't shot it yet. Cheers. No, it's not a good beer, but it's bright and it's cold and it's perfect for right now. Okay, so let's get right on down to business. It's cold. Okay, last week's winner of a Travels with Geordie t-shirt is DL Fendel. So DL Fendel, get a hold of me and we'll make sure you get your Travels with Geordie t-shirt. Cheers. Again, another banner week for Patreon and PayPal. Thank you so much. So from Patreon, Ken Olina, Tom Willard, Finn Scar, and James Dawson. Thank you all so very much for coming aboard. It's much appreciated, especially these days. Cheers. And likewise from PayPal, Craig Smith, Greg Penn, Michael Saffold, John McMonigal, who is a repeat offender, just from last week as well. Several of these are actually, to be fair. Roger Somero, Susan Meldal, and James Glass. Thank you all ever so much for your support, and I can say that you've all contributed to more days on the hard, and even the extended days are now fully covered by you all. Thanks ever so much. Cheers. And I got a toy. Hang on, I gotta put my glass down somewhere safe because I don't really have a table. Off the Amazon wish list. Wanted one of these forever. I've never owned it. It's a diamond sharpening stone, and I didn't open this yet. I'm not being very responsible. Well, responsible is a good word because I'm not very responsible with my sharp tools, chisels, planes, things like that. But I want to be, at least in my heart I do. So now I'm going to take much better care of them and sharpen them regularly and keep a nice keen edge on them, and the satisfaction of, yes, I actually do love using a stone. So thank you very much, and as usual, whoever you are, because there was no indication of who sent it. So if you sent the diamond sharpening stone, please let me know and I'll thank you properly. Just want to remind everyone that later today, 1 o'clock, I have no idea what time it is now, and of course if you're watching this in the future, it's just the next video. Live stream, 1 o'clock Pacific time, and we'll see you there, and I'm not quite sure what we'll do, but have some questions ready, and I'll see if I can answer them, because, you know, there's lots of questions. We can decide which way the bungs are supposed to go in. Yeah, cheers. Okay. Now all you need is a word of the week, and it's just so blatantly obvious. It's hot. Yes, it is hot. So if you'd like to win a Travels with Geordie t-shirt, use the word hot in a comment down below. I'll pick at random over the next week, and if I pick your comment, you'll win a Travels with Geordie t-shirt. See you in an hour or 2 or 3 or whatever it is. Bye.